5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Lyrical Meditation Cypher Podcast. I am Toni Blackman, one of your hosts.
And I'm Polaryss, your other host. This podcast was created because we each believe that hip hop is in alignment with wellness, healing, and transformation. Well, at least it can be.
Yeah, and here in this here cipher, we explore universal themes and topics related to personal growth and development. So check it out. With each episode, we begin with meditation, followed by prayer. Then we have a cipher, followed by a conversation on the theme of the week.
And this week's theme, body, nah. We just want to know how you feel about your body. That's what we need to know. And it's juicy. But before we go there, we got to meditate. This is the Lyrical Meditation Cypher Podcast. So I'm going to throw it over to our coach in residence, Takiyah, so we can get it started.
Allow yourself to just be centered. It's as simple as that. You can choose to be centered. And let your attention be on your heart. And imagine that with each beat, it sends waves through your body. Beautiful rhythmic waves of life, of love, of peace. Allow those waves to ripple up and around your head and back down to your feet. The waves even wiggle your toes. The waves continue. They crash softly and then begin again. Crashing softly and beginning again. With each wave, you find yourself more and more centered in a place of joyous resolution, place of peace, one where you just know. When you just know, allow the smile to come on your face and the joy to rise up. The waves come and they crash, and they come and they crash, sending ripples head to toe. And in the center, you reside and just know.
Dear God, we thank you so much for these beautiful bodies, these vessels with which we get to experience this life. We thank you for our ability to express, to move, to feel, to create, to sense the surroundings around us. Thank you for this opportunity to live our dream. Amen.
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 Dear body, thank you for holding me up and holding me down. Thank you for taking care of me when I rejected you. For being gordita, or for the scars of stress from your troubles, from my troubles left you. Thank you for being my home, the place where I live. I love you. And though I wasn't taught to appreciate you, I am learning now. I am learning now. I am learning now.
They say eyes are the windows to the soul. I had a virus in mine, and I feel like it stole my identity. How I see me, the ephemeral nature of physical beauty. What I couldn't see is being free, is loving every change in me. Before my eyes, it was my body, obsessed with thinness, feeling so hungry for wholeness. Stop trying to control this. The body knows and the body holds, so surrender to the body's flow.
Disconnected from breasts. Tuck them away to assert, not suggest. I am not just a measure of mounds on a chest. It is not just to impose double standards on us. To find my power in my center and then render it safe for you to enter was a journey for the brave and tender. When he beat my body, I thought he was beating me. And everything I made his mean. Then I remembered. My body is something I have, something I render. I overstood he was beating the parts of him he hated, beating his dad who taught him hate, tread, beating his mom who he falsely sainted. Love for himself was fate. The DNA can't be erased, but it can be recoded. No excuses, but reasons exclude malice. It's like wine in a daughter's chalice, standing over piles of shards from shattered walls of her palace. So more than a tailored suit, more than skin and bones, more than living proof. It is proof, a portal to enter the zone. In the mirror, I reflect on this life and impending cell death. I love this body I get. I set her free now. I'm not waiting until I eject.
Check the miraculous metamorphosis in me now. I came a long way from walking around head held down. And though I noticed some external changes, ever drastic, beaten to submission to live life everlasting, internally the same. Refuse to rearrange any part of me to live partially fulfilled like some lames trying to gain self-esteem from a source that's depleted. Believe it, I'm confident. Don't mistake it for conceited. Succeeded in doing me while shaking these haters' theories. The disrespect. Consequently, it don't matter about the clothes that I wear. In fact, what's truly relevant is I don't care. And in case you didn't hear me before, I don't care.
Self-love, I place nothing above it. Now I can say my body, I love it. For too long, it was never good enough. No matter how thin my body and me, we were not friends. Thighs was too big, ass was too small. I felt too fat. I felt too tall. Now my height always was all right with me. And Grandma Bessie had me love my brown skin deeply. But yo, one comment about my weight my mama made as a teen stayed with me for decades. So watch what you say to your kids so they can live and love the bodies that they gave. So they won't be a slave to the industry. Misnamed beauty is really about money and profiting from self-hate. As if women are never ever great as they are naturally. Can't you see? Why you gotta love your body? Love your body. I love my body. Yo, I love my body. Bounce with it. Bounce.
I love my body. Hey.
Yes.
My body.
No doubt. That's what it comes down to, right?
We gotta do that song. Love
I love
Yes.
That's the anthem.
How sweet. I love my body.
Yeah, you know, this, I think we were talking about like topics to do. And I think this one has come up several times, but we never did it because I think it seemed too regular. You know what I mean?
But we not regular.
But we got
We bringing it irregular.
yeah.
Isosceles over here.
Right.
But it's like the love your body topic is kind of like the self-esteem topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
It feels cliche, but it's not.
No, it's not.
The beauty industry, like 90% of the money made from it is based upon telling women something's wrong with them.
100%.
You know? Oh, you say 100%?
Indeed.
And so when I started this, I was like, wait, you know, everybody, like, let's talk about how we really feel about our own body and how to love our bodies, you know, are you on a path to loving your body? Do you love your body? Was there a point where you didn't love it? What do you see when you look in the mirror? Have you ever experienced perfectionism when it comes to your body? Like, that's the conversation I want to have. And, you know, we don't have a whole lot of time to go deep, but we're not superficial people. So let's talk about it.
Can I break the ice right quick?
Yes.
I have been like skinny my whole life, like metabolism on overdrive. Like I never was more than 100 pounds until I was pregnant, like that. Right. And then I was like that. I used to try to put on more clothes to see if it made me look a little thicker. And then, you know, when you get into your teenage years, that's all people notice. It's like, oh, she got breasts now. Oh, she got a butt now. Like, yeah, no, I was not in any of those conversations. So when I finally started to gain a little weight, I'm like, okay, but then it didn't stop. And then COVID hit. And we was locked in the crib. And those of you who know me know I love to cook,
Right.
but I equally love to eat. So I was cooking up the good, taking pictures of it and then swallowing it whole.
So you was eating good, sis? You was eating
Girl,
good?
let me tell you, I got the pictures. I'll show them. But so I'm like, I gained a bunch of weight. We just before I gained a significant amount is when we went on tour to Uganda. And I was so stiff and uncomfortable in my body because that was the first time I had been that size. And I was like, when we were practicing and rehearsing, I was like looking in the mirror and I truly could not find me in my body. Like as we were looking at the mirror rehearsing, I couldn't find me in there anywhere. And so everything felt forced.
And we was together and I had no idea. I don't know if Toni knew that you felt that way, but I had no idea.
I was trying to keep it, you know what I'm saying? But I eventually I just had to. Now though, so I gained a little more, like I said, post-COVID.
Okay.
And I'm actively working, you know, but the difference is this time before I was like, I'm just going to wear the clothes I got because that's the body I'm used to. This time I bought clothes that fit so I can look good in the body that I'm in right now. And it's not about me waiting until I get small enough to fit the clothes that I have. I kept the stuff that I like. So if I, contract back to that size, then it's there. But I bought some stuff that I can feel good in right now, in the body I'm in right now. And it's made a tremendous difference. I feel so much better in the mirror. I feel so much better when I'm conversing with people and not feeling self-conscious about, is my stomach poking out a little too much? Are my pants too tight? Is my button about to pop? Now I'm like, okay, well, it's not a 6. But the 6 is in the closet if I need it. You did?
Well, it's funny. I do remember that tour, but I remember we had a shoot on Coney Island. I remember some things you said to me about the photos. And that's when it occurred to me. And I was like, oh, she never had a pouch before.
I used to have a 6-pack.
You know what I mean?
I was used to muscular. I was used to 6-pack.
Yeah, she was used to 6-pack. And it took me a minute to register. And then at the same time, remember, my sister had been suicidal. And as soon as she got off the ledge, my brother killed himself. It was like back to back. And during that time, it was a time where I wasn't aware that I was still rocking other people's emotions to try to be a rock. But what I would do to calm myself, cook and eat. So by the time we went to Uganda, I was 20 pounds heavier. You can look at those pictures and you can see in some of the dresses, like I had put on. Matt, I think we all said the same thing at that time. Hey, guess what? We ate well in Uganda.
We ate nice, okay? We still talk about it to this day.
But at least in the hotel there was good food, and we had healthy breakfasts and fresh juice. So
looking back, that was now I think about it, I'm like, that was such a miraculous time for us to go on tour together. Because I was like, I was living in Ecuador. I was in a really bad car accident that I could have died in. And then Tony's like, we're going to Uganda. I was like, that's my cue. I got to leave Ecuador. Like, really bad accident. I was that. And then we go into Uganda. So it was like, that's so interesting. But as far as my body, I've always struggled. I was always like gordita. I was always chubby and chunky growing up. And then I played sports. And originally I was like, I wanted to play sports so I could lose weight. Like, that was my thing from a very early age, like 10 years old, 11 years old. I was already putting myself in diets, And luckily for me, like because I did love sports and because I would say I had like a coach or a gym teacher that encouraged me to do it the right way, to like lose weight healthily. I never gratefully never had like a food disorder or anything like that. But I think, but the thinking about it all the time, that's probably a disorder in itself. From a very early age, it just like people wouldn't call me by my name. People would call me like gorda gordita, and I never but I didn't, it's in Latin culture is very much like a term of endearment. So I just learned to like fire back or be like, yeah, I am, all cute with it. But like really, I wanted to lose weight, and then like I spent really all my years just being. I never had a 6-pack, so to speak, but I do remember feeling my best when I was the most fit. So like, there's that space of loving myself, loving my body. And then for me, at least, knowing that fitness is important to me, like healthy living or healthy practices are important for me. They make me feel good. I just don't know, even to this day, where is it like that it becomes unhealthy, like maybe the overthinking, not the actual working out or like, like aiming towards fitness. Does that make sense? But like, when is it unhealthy when it's so much on my mind? Like,
Yeah.
I hate myself if I gain this much weight, or something like that.
Yeah, that overthinking is definitely something I struggle with as a perfectionist. And, a lot of you are talking about how your body's changed over time. And when I was in my 20s, I finally reached a point after having a lot of insecurity that I felt really good about myself. And I was acting and trying to get out there, and people were always saying to me, you have beautiful eyes, you're going to make it. Not because you're talented, which I wish they'd said, but because you have beautiful eyes. And then something happened. I was nannying and I got a viral pink eye. And I had this inflammation in my eyes for like 3 months. It did not go away. And then since then, I have dry eyes. They don't look the same. And after that incident, I had casting people say to me, you had the look and now you don't. And it really shook me because, I think I'm beautiful and I still notice the differences. People don't know what it is exactly that's different about me, but it's a small change and I see it. And I've had to fight this idea that I no longer have something, right? And in the process of loving myself, it's loving myself in how my body changes. And the more that I started to love myself, actually, the better I started to look because I thought about it less and I was fighting it. I was fighting with my eyes. I was putting stuff on them and aggravating and putting energy towards that. And so, yeah, it's a practice for me, loving my body now, loving my eyes. And, I don't know. I don't know if there's a perfect solution, but we have to keep falling in love with ourselves over time as we change.
Yeah, that's it. It is.
Yeah.
I think that's it. And I know I was a cheerleader in high school. And then 7th grade, I was suicidal the whole year. It may be genetic on my father's side of the family. And I remember how much weight I gained that year when I was 12. You can look at the pictures. I look miserable. And I don't know, it was a lot of weight. And then something clicked in the 8th grade, and then 9th grade, I started playing sports. And this is why I'm such an advocate for physical activity, because athleticism amongst girls, it builds such confidence, not because of size, not because of weight, but it's the act of moving your body and realizing that the power is within you.
That's exactly where I found my power, Toni.
Okay.
100%. That's my story in a nutshell. It saved my life. I was also suicidal because of my home life. Yeah. I think my first hug was like in 7th grade by my coach. Like, that's what I remember. And every other touch just felt, it was pain, So I remember stepping onto the field and feeling light and free and powerful. And I know that the vocalizing that I did when I would be very engaged and coming with my full power, I would actually growl. And it was not a conscious act. It was definitely suppressed pain that I know would have eaten me from the inside out if I did not have an outlet. And so for me, I've always had an athletic body. And so like my body fat comes on pretty globally, evenly. Like literally, if I get an in body, it's even on every aspect of my body. So I can, gain body fat and it not really look, like I'm fat. I can tell the difference, however, when I'm really fit and when I'm not. But what I did have was this dysmorphia around not having enough muscle tone. Like I didn't feel like I looked good if my muscles weren't big enough. And so I had to do little social experiments. I have very acute memories of being like shamed for my body while I took my shirt off on the playground. One time I was hot in like 5th grade and I knew it was wrong in the societal eyes. And I could feel the tension that was going to come down on me, but I didn't care. And I took it off anyway. And I just, I remember being shamed for it and like just they try to put me in my place, like to try to get me to fit into a certain way of being in a female body. And so I remember, like going braless because I felt this insecurity about my nipples showing through my shirt. And I remember, like wearing a tampon behind my ear, like when I left the store for the first, like, many months that I had to buy tampons because they tried to put it in a brown paper bag. And I was like, look, if I'm going to bleed, y'all gonna know. Like, I'm not, gonna hide. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna make me shame myself for things that are happening naturally, completely out of my control, that are part of who my experience is in this body. Like, and so I had to do these things for myself. I remember catching myself one time, like, catching a glimpse of myself in the mirror when I was leaving for this, like, to do like uppity outing, and I didn't have earrings in it. I had the thought, oh, you would look better with earrings on. And I said, whoa, I didn't wear earrings for 6 months.
I love that. I love that. I feel like Kid Takiyah has the same values as adult Takiyah. Same thing.
Well, it's so that body dysmorphia is so real. Like, I realize I still have it, where I see myself, no matter how slim I am, it's hard for me to see myself. Like, there are 30 pounds I can't see. Like, I will still go into the store and pick up extra large first.
Wow.
It's too big. But I still pick it up. Or I will put on a certain dress. I remember doing a show in Central Park, and my girlfriend, Angie, came. She was a stylist, hairstyle. And she's like, why do you have this dress on? And she pulled the sleeves. It was sleeveless. And she showed me the space on a dress with no sleeves. And she's like, do you see your little arm? Didn't see it when I got dressed.
Yeah, it's amazing how the brain will play tricks on us.
Yes. Yeah.
I really struggled with my body when I was a teenager, and I'm in a much healthier place now. I can honestly say that I eat healthy for myself, and this is not an issue for me anymore. But I was at one point like 89 pounds. And I just felt, and I was running every day, running like 4 miles every day to be healthy, but I was doing it to stay thin. And I thought that I was fat. I saw my body, and I did not see a emaciated person, which is what I looked like.
Yeah.
I saw something completely different. And our mind is so powerful, and our bodies are so sacred and important. And I feel like it's so important to be healthy for ourselves and to really feel that on the inside. Yeah.
That's the unfortunate part of growing up in a female body in this country, is that they just hand you over your funhouse mirror and say, go live life. And like you said, you were 89 pounds. I was 87 or 89 pounds when I tried to join the military. And they said I was too small. The minimum was 92, and I didn't meet the minimum. And I had an eating waiver where I had to eat twice every meal because I gained the weight. I drank like mad water just to get on a scale and make the 92. I was 91 when she weighed me. They sent me home for 2 weeks, said drink all of these protein drinks and drink all of the Nutri whatever. And so I did it. And when I got back the 2 weeks later to do my weigh-in, I was 91. And she said, listen, technically, I'm not supposed to weigh you again. Take this water, drink all of it, and don't go to the bathroom. And I will weigh you again last.
Wow.
And so she let everybody go before me, and I'm doing the dance, but I'm like, I'm not going until she weighed me. She weighed me. I was exactly 92 pounds. And then as soon as I left the scale, I went to the restroom.
Yeah.
Then when I got to the military, they call this in the Air Force anyway, the first 4 days is 0 week. So it's 7 weeks of training, but the first 4 days don't count. That's 0 week. In 0 week, I lost 8 pounds because of the strenuous workout routine. And my body my metabolism was so fast at the time. I lost 8 pounds. So they put me on a waiver to eat twice every meal. And I'm like, yo, I got to do the same workout everybody. I would run off, and this might be TMI. We were running. I would step out of line and throw up and come back and get back in the line because I was filled to the hilt. I could not eat anymore, but they made me eat twice every meal so that at least my weight balanced out, that I wouldn't lose any, but I would only lose what I had just, you know what I'm saying? It was treacherous.
That sounds so stressful. Oh my goodness.
And so going from that to the weight gain, like I had a hard time gaining weight. And so switching gears into like, now I have a hard time losing. I literally don't know what that's like. Like my brain, I cannot wrap my brain around what it's like to focus on trying to lose weight. I don't know what that is.
And, I said, wow, not because of, their actual story, like the what you were saying about the person telling you to drink water. I thought of was that in these little moments, these little decisions that change our lives forever. Can you imagine your life without the military? What if you hadn't gone?
Well, remember my life without the military, I was only 87 pounds. So
right.
Yeah, pretty stressful.
But I imagine that sounds like it was like forceful. It's abusive is what it is. Totally. And so we don't look at people like whole selves. We look at them as bodies, especially in that kind of setting. So I understand how that could happen. That I'm sorry that happened to you.
But it's interesting. This was before plus size modeling became a big thing. And I was signed with an agency in the DMV. And I remember doing, expos, the big expos and fashion show for Nordstrom and Sears, JCPenney, that kind of stuff. And then there was a show, this bridal expo. I was working with a trainer at the time, and I had perfect measurements, whatever that meant for someone my height and whatever. And I was a perfect 14, 16. Remember, 16 used to be smaller than it is now. Years ago.
They changed the mannequins, Toni.
Changed everything. So at the time, I was a perfect 16. Nowadays, that might be 12. You know how they've changed everything to make people feel better about their sizes or whatever.
16 is like a 24.
Yeah. So, but I was that, and I was toned. I was working with a trainer, and I was, it was a show. So I had drank carrot juice and eaten some nuts. And I had salads with only lemon juice or raw vinegar. But I didn't know food science then. And I didn't know that nuts and carrots would make me bloat. So the fashion show director for this big bridal expo, bridal gowns are exact fit. And mine could barely zip up. This man shamed me to filth. So much so, I quit. I quit modeling. Like, I quit the agency, I quit the contract. And of course, all my professors and everybody around me said, modeling's stupid anyway, you're too smart for that. But I wish that I had a mentor, because it would have been the perfect setup for the life that I wanted to create. Because the next 2 years is when all the plus size stuff blew up. And I would have been at the front. But I didn't believe in myself enough to do stuff without other people's approval. But the body shaming, and it was so sick and twisted the way he shamed me in front of all of the models. And I remember going to the bathroom to cry, still did the show, sucking it in. It was painful being in those dresses, but I didn't eat. He said I was lying. And I didn't know that almonds and carrot juice would bloat you.
Neither did he, apparently, if he was shaming you for it.
Maybe so.
That old saying, pain is beauty. Like, no.
Says men, says who?
They say all the time.
It doesn't have to be. What is the equivalent of that for non-women? Like, what is the equivalent for pain is beauty if you happen to be a male or present as a male? Like, what is the equivalent for that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I never let cute trump comfortable. I feel like comfort
ever all day.
Ever. When I'm comfortable, I look my best.
Yeah.
Because I feel my best.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because, people will see you and your confident self and assume, create a narrative that you have no issues with your body.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I think it's very difficult. Like, our British counterpart isn't here today. But I think it's similar there as well, in Western culture. And I just remember my food disorder was, I had food anxiety because so many foods made me sick at a time. And my response to that as the little kid in me was like, well, I just won't eat anything. And my rationalization was, I'll lose weight.
Yeah.
But I got sick too. And I was so skinny, people thought I was sick. Sick.
Mm.
But
Toni, I wanted to add, I know two things. I noticed that I had some food anxiety when I did collective detox / fast, because I was circling in the office like, I want to eat a Snickers, I want to eat this, I want to eat that. And I realized the only reason I wanted to, like, all these things came to mind that I wanted to eat was because I was feeling anxious. And then when I was like, wait a minute. And then the fact that, like, I knew in my mind, like, I had committed to this fast, it was like, that helped me kind of realize what was happening. Whereas in the past, I maybe wouldn't have realized. I would have just gone to get a Snickers. I would have just gone to get, whatever it is that I was craving in that moment. And I was like, wait a minute, like, what's happening? Like, I'm acting crazy. Like, I'm acting,
My food anxiety was I was afraid to eat anything. Like, before I sat down to eat this rice, broccoli, and whatever, my anxiety was, what's going to make me sick? What's going to bring me a rash? What's going to give me mucus? What's going to create a digestive issue? And that's the kind of anxiety I had. And I think it was about a good 10 years where I suffered, but there were 4 or 5 years where it impacted my health. Took up a lot of time and energy. And this is why it's so important. I think the work that we do in our own individual lives and on this podcast is that part of sharing our personal stories, like you giving someone else life. Like someone else,
especially the little girls, them teen girls.
Yes.
So important.
Yes, because you think about the hours, the days, the months, the years you spent using your energy on that worry and that worry about whether people think and not loving yourself, when you could have just used it working on your purpose and your dream, just loving your body. And that's my prayer for everybody who listens to what we do, love the body, love yourself. Love the body.
I think so much of what we've shared it really comes back to, really knowing ourselves, knowing, how we show up best for ourselves. And, I think, really shifting our focus to what our bodies allow us to do in the world and what our bodies give us the freedom to do, and just appreciating the fact that we have one that functions well, and knowing how good we feel when we feel good, and it supports us in keeping up the habits that help us to stay that way. I know, I'd love to hear what you guys do for yourselves, but I know I have naked time. I spend naked time from a lot of times on weekends, especially when I have even more time to kind of just flow. I get out of the shower and I don't put clothes on for quite a while. And I allow myself to, look in the mirror on my way out. And I consciously give myself good kudos for, just like how well I'm taking care of myself. Like, because how we feel inside definitely reflects outwardly. And so
naked time.
Naked time, baby.
Like hammer time. Naked time. I was naked the whole pandemic. I was naked.
All of a sudden. I'm like, what? Since when you start sleeping naked? What happened? You've been talking to kid.
I was naked time. No, but the whole pandemic, I was naked. And I remember my sister, my good friend, my cousin, and they were like, what are you doing? I said, I am free. And they were like, you're free. I said, I don't have any roommates. I don't have any Airbnb guests. I'm just naked. And they was like, it's cold outside. I said, and I have pre-war apartment building ghetto heat.
If you've never had sunlight on your nipples, you haven't lived.
Oh, okay. Early morning sunlight into the guest room. I lay naked on the yoga mat right by the window underneath it. And I swear, I got a couple girlfriends. They got so many jokes about Toni and her nakedness. And but I think naked time is important. I think what I do for myself to love my body is get into practice. I practice what I say, like the inside. And I call it, like, some weeks I have high self-care esteem. And so I feel great when I know that I've made my juice, I've drunk my water, I've taken my supplements, I did my exercise, And I tell you, I can have on, I'm in a Muslim country, and y'all know I tend to be one extreme. I'm either walking down the runway or I'm modest. I don't have any in betweens.
Yes.
So here I can be modest in peace, and I can wear the long, loose dress and even cover my hair, but I can feel greatness underneath the covering. And it's just a beautiful.
As we're closing out, like Toni mentioned, like what she does for her body and like how she takes care of her body and manages her picture of her body in her head. What are some of the things that you ladies do to do that?
Ooh, for me, I love naked time too. It's definitely become something, and as a guy knows, I enjoy. I was on the phone the other day with this guy, and he's like, "What you wearing?" I'm like, "Nothing," but that don't mean I'm trying to have sexy time. I'm just telling you. But I was thinking to myself, that's bad funny, like, because even just having the confidence to be like nothing, you know what I'm saying?
That's a whole topic right there. Us being free to just be naked and not have it be for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's part two. That's part two of this episode is naked time.
Wow.
Honestly, let me tell you what's helped me also get outside, like even like going waxing, right? Like just being bold in that space where like somebody's seeing like everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously not for any reason except for a wax. Like I wouldn't be able to do that in my younger years. Like, some women are able to do that. Okay, no problem. I was never the type. So now, like, that's actually also for me, that's also showing me how much more confident I am with myself. And self-care, like everything has to do with self-care, whether it's going waxing, whether it's taking a bath, whether it's like, looking at myself in the mirror. My brother just bought me a vanity mirror and I'm like, I love it. The lights, like not wearing makeup all the time. Like, that's part of it. That's, reminding myself I'm beautiful with or without it. It's just like, it feels good. It feels good to be in a different, more confident space. But I definitely have my days. I definitely
Yeah, to your point, like that. To your point, Sincerity, like the way that I love my body is I actually romance myself. I rub lotion on my skin. I feel how it feels to touch my arms, to really just be in love with myself and embodied and listening to music, moving, just being in this rapture with myself is how I've been getting more embodied and less in my head.
Okay.
Mine is definitely my flow in my day. When I wake up, there's a self-care flow that I have that just allows me to feel my wholeness and knowing that my body is simply an extension of that.
I love all of this. Love it.
Word. Like I said, for me right now, it's wearing clothes that look good, no matter the size. I don't care about the size. If they look good on me, then I feel good in them. And that's pretty much what I'm doing as I am reconnecting to the body that I am currently in. And for those of you listening, I can't wait to hear what it is you are doing or what this brought up for you so that we can learn some new ways of loving our bodies.
Yes. And loving our bodies. And we love our bodies and we love our naked time and we love our Lyrical Meditation Cypher time.
Yeah.
We love our time being able to record this podcast and this episode. We always have fun when we get together, and we hope that you enjoy your LMC time with us. We thank you for listening. We thank you for supporting. We thank you for sharing. And this is the Lyrical Meditation Cypher Podcast, where we breathe, we spit, and we vibe. Peace, y'all.